But first, Shamima Begum. We remember her, don't we? She is, of course, the young lady who left London, Bethnal Green in London, aged just 15, to join Islamic State and currently languishing in a Syrian refugee camp, having been stripped of her UK citizenship by the former Home Secretary, Sajid Javid. Well, today, in court, while she did lose the first stage of her appeal, her lawyer said that his client will immediately appeal as a matter of exceptional urgency because he says that Shamima Begum has now increased her chances of serious danger and her chances of survival are precariously balanced. Should we care? Why on earth should we have to take back Shamima Begum? Look, I know people say she might be facing the death penalty in Bangladesh, but she went out. She left this country. She betrayed this country to join Islamic State terrorists. And we know the true hell that they enacted on us during various different terrorist attacks, including that horrific bombing that killed and maimed so many at the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. I'm sorry, I can't forgive her. I support Sajid Javid. But do you have more humanity? Do you think that for some reason we should take this ISIS defector back? 0344 499 1000 is my number. Paul Connew is a columnist for the New European and he joins me now. Paul, you think Shamima Begum is going to become our issue again, don't you?
I think she should, although the last opinion poll on this last autumn suggested that about 77% of the British public agree with you, Dan. But
so why should we take her back, Paul?
I think there are a number of reasons. One is inconsistency. Figures show, although it's not been mentioned very much by people like Sajid Javid, that 420 male Islamic fighters who are British have been allowed back into this country. Some of them are in prison, some of them are not. So I think this 15-year-old girl, as she was, and there's no evidence that she was an active fighter, has been turned into a rather sort of cause célèbre. And let's not forget the timing of all of this. At the time Sajid Javid was then Home Secretary, was also fighting for the Tory leadership, and I think was trying, especially as a Muslim politician, was trying to show his hardline credentials.
But she can go back to Bangladesh, can't she? She can go back to Bangladesh. If she faces the death penalty there, well, that's what she has to deal with.
Dan, she can't go back to Bangladesh.
Why not?
In fact, because the Bangladeshi government say she is not a Bangladeshi citizen, and so that's in dispute. She was born in the UK. She was radicalised in the UK. She has never set foot in her life in Bangladesh. She doesn't speak a word of the language, as far as I'm aware. And so she is, whether we like it or not, she is our problem.
And then what should happen to her when she comes back?
And she should face the consequences of being brought back here, which may well include, a period of incarceration, as well as de-radicalisation.
I know, but the problem is, Paul, we've seen with the terrorist in Streatham, we've seen with the terrorist at London Bridge, it's not working. The incarceration, the de-radicalisation programs are not working. We've got so many of these terrorists here that we have to deal with already. I don't want to have to deal with Miss Begum. And if there is any way that we can keep her out, let's keep her out.
She isn't but we're then this rather imperialistic attitude of where we are somebody else to actually inherit our problem. She is not Bangladeshi. The Bangladeshi government don't want her, and they also have the death penalty, for people, who are class.
Well, that's their law. That's their law. And unfortunately, Miss Begum knew that.
But the Bangladeshi government say the British are passing the buck or trying to, but they say she is not Bangladeshi. And if she doesn't have a Bangladeshi passport, she has never lived in Bangladesh. She wasn't born in Bangladesh, and she was radicalised in the UK.
But she does have a claim to Bangladeshi nationality through her mother.
But the Bangladeshi government say that is not the case. That is not their law. So, in fact, there is a government dispute on that. And ironically, this is going to add to our problems, with Donald Trump. I mean, Boris Johnson's already got his problems with Donald Trump over the president's wrath at the
Huawei,
position of Huawei, but also of the digital tax on the U.S. Tech titans. And Donald Trump is actually demanding that European nations, including Britain, take back their terrorists out.
Well, he can demand that all he wants. He can demand that all he wants, Paul. But do you not understand, Paul? Do you not understand that the message this would send is all wrong? The young people in this country who are considering being radicalized or are going through a process of radicalization need to understand there is no way back to our country. There is no way back if you join a terrorist organization, if you're going to support Al-Qaeda, if you're going to support ISIS.
What do you suggest we do? What do you suggest happens to her?
Well, Sajid Javid clearly believes she should go back to Bangladesh, and he was the Home Secretary.
Damn, you've just used the word back. She go back to Bangladesh. She's never set foot in Bangladesh, and the Bangladeshi government say she is not a Bangladeshi citizen, no matter what Sajid Javid might want to say.
Well, I personally will back the former Home Secretary on this one and the decision he made. Because at the end of the day, I think we have to have a right, if there is any possible right, to say to a terrorist defector, you ain't allowed back in. Sorry, Shamima, go and face justice in Bangladesh where your mother was born. Go and face it there, and then take seriously the decision you made to betray us and to join a group of cretinous terrorists that put our safety at risk. And in fact, if you were the parent of one of those victims of the Ariana Grande concert bombing, potentially killed your child. It's not on.
I'm not a bleeding heart liberal, and I actually back the government on their plan to
I know you're not, and you're making a very logical point. You're making a logical point, and you're making a legal point, and I get you, right? I absolutely understand, Paul, the point that you're making, but I can't stomach it. I cannot face having that woman back in this country.
But the members of the public are getting very hot under the collar about this, understandably on emotional terms.
Yeah.
I think most of them haven't got a clue that we've already taken back 420, in fact, hardened IS male fighters, which makes a complete disproportionate fiasco about making.
But presumably, Paul, tell me if I'm wrong, but presumably some of them don't have any form of dual citizenship or a right to citizenship in another country.
Well, she doesn't. According to the Bangladesh government, she is not and has no claim on Bangladeshi citizenship. So, in fact, to that extent, we are rather imperialistically, in a colonialist way, trying to say, Bangladesh, you take her back, even though your laws say she isn't a Bangladeshi citizen.
Well, the problem is, if Shamima Begum comes back, I don't trust her to do something to not do something terrible. And I don't think she'll get a long prison sentence and then she'd be out on the streets. I don't trust this woman. I don't believe her claims. I think she's someone who hates this country, and I don't want her back. And it is an emotional response, but I do not want her back.
I can't judge
until we can lock her up and throw away the key.
Who can be radicalised or not. But she is certainly far less dangerous than the 420 male IS fighters who we've already taken back.
No, well, I know, and I'm absolutely outraged about that. But, Paul, I totally understand the argument you're making, and I so appreciate you coming on. That is Paul Connew, who is a columnist for The New European. I get it, right? I get it. Paul is making perfect sense. Of course it's crazy these other ISIS fighters have come back. Of course Bangladesh says they don't want Shamima Begum. But can you really stomach this woman being allowed entry back into the UK? And also, what type of example would that set to other potential terrorists in this country? People need to know the consequences of joining a terrorist organisation. By the way, this is not some harmless terrorist organisation. This is a terrorist organisation that has killed British citizens on British soil.